No one really prepares you for how a layoff really messes with your sense of self. I didn't just lose my job, I lost my confidence, my routine, and honestly, the belief that I was good at what I did. And what people don't tell you is that sometimes you don't bounce back as quickly. It took me over a year to trust myself again, build my confidence, and put myself out there to apply for jobs again. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maggie. On this channel, we talk about navigating adulthood through different chapters. And yeah, as you can see by the title, we are going to talk about that time when I got laid off, how I coped with it, probably things I should have done to cope a bit better with it. And I'm hoping that from what I share, it can be some help to somebody out there that might be going through the same thing. Because trust me, y'all, that was a rough situation. I did rough bad. All right, so let me set the scene for you guys about what this was like. So in one of my previous videos, I actually talked about how people need to stop knocking 9 to 5s, and I briefly touched on the fact that I went through my own layoff journey, and I would talk about it in another video. So this is that video right here, okay? So I was working at a job that I felt no longer was serving me. It was toxic. It was mentally draining me. I did not look forward to going to work anymore. And that's when I knew that I needed to pivot and do something else. So during the time that I was working at this job, which was in nonprofit, I was dabbling a bit with looking for jobs in digital marketing. That was really the passion and interest that I had developed over time as someone who pretty much was doing content at this point for over 7 years. This year is actually going to be 10 years since I've been a content creator. I started my journey in 2016, and I have another YouTube channel that is what I started, and I talk about different things about culture, food, all of that. This one I started this year for me to explore more lifestyle things and talk more about my experiences through adulthood. So I was searching for jobs. I got a couple opportunities where I got interviews, and for this one, it just felt like a perfect fit. It was a hybrid model, so we didn't have to go into the office every day. We only had to go in once a month, and that was for like group like activities, or they wanted to have like a monthly time where all of us would be in the office together to get to know each other, hang out, different things like that. Cool. I was fine with that. I start, everything's going well. I'm getting the whole spiel of how great the company is doing. All the new hires even were put on a meeting with the CEO to talk about how great the company was doing, the future of what they see is going to happen for the company, X, Y, and Z, the whole works, guys. Now, tell me why, not even a month into this job, I get called or I get booked on my calendar, a meeting with the HR. I thought that the HR was just joining the meeting that I had set up initially with my manager, or my manager had set up with me, I should say. So I'm thinking, cool, the HR is just going to be on it. Maybe it's because it's my first meeting with them. HR is there to kind of just be there, whatever. I get on the call and it's just HR, and I can't remember who was the other person, and they're basically letting me know that due to changes within the company, structural changes, unfortunately, today's my last day and they have to let me go. And I was just there like, is this a joke thing? A joke thing. Like, I was so perplexed, guys, bamboozled. I never know what a thing. I was like, what you mean today's my last day? Like, I'm so confused. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm here trying to like think, like, did I do something? Not even remembering that they said it's due to structural changes. But to myself, I'm like, that sounds like HR speak for them to not actually tell you the real reason they're letting you go, right? Anyways, this was my first time ever, guys, ever being laid off from a job. I did not know how it really works, what is the procedure, but the HR person tells me I can understand how how this comes as a shock. No need to work for the rest of the day. To myself, I'm like, oh, no, did think I go work for the rest of the day. So she basically told me like, I could like close out for the day. Don't worry about the rest of meetings that I have, etc. And what pissed me off about this is that not even like a day before, we literally had a team meeting for a client, and we were talking about certain strategies. And I remember I had like put forward some ideas for strategy of what we could do for the client, etc. And not even 24 hours later, I am fired. I definitely took it really hard. I would say that day my husband was working from home, thankfully. So after I got the news, I closed down the laptop, and the first thing I did was went out to my husband and I said, "Babe, I just got fired. I just got laid off." And he was cool as a cucumber, as he always is, and he said, well, at the time he wasn't even my husband yet, my fiance. Wait, not even my fiance. He was my boyfriend at the time. Yeah, I go to him and said, "Babe, this happened." Cool as a cucumber as always. He's like, "Okay, babe, don't worry about it. Everything will be fine. Just chill for the rest of the day. Put on some TV. Relax your mind. Don't even think about it. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. And, you know, you can talk to me about how you're feeling, etc. Blah, blah, blah." I said, "Okay, cool." I tried to watch TV. That never worked. I was just so upset. I'm like, how dare they? Like, I went from disbelief to rage. I remember I went on LinkedIn, kind of like stalking the pages for the CEO and the HR person, like trying to figure out like what are the signs? Like, do I see my job already posted up? Like, little stuff like that I was looking for. And after a while, I said, you know what, this is ridiculous. I closed down my laptop and then I just decided to go and take a nap. But I literally cried myself to sleep. It was so bad. I wish I could say that over the next couple of days, I handled the situation really positively, but I didn't. I was telling myself I'm okay. I'm telling others that I'm okay, that I eventually opened to about the situation, mainly close friends. I told my parents, of course, but really and truly behind the scenes, I was spiraling. I was mainly spiraling because one, I just got this job, and my husband, my boyfriend at the time, and I had just moved to a new apartment. So it's like now we have one paycheck gone. I'm trying to figure out this whole EI thing, which is our version of employment insurance. I don't know what they call it in the States or anywhere else, but in Canada it's called EI for employment insurance. I'm trying to figure out how to get that sorted. How much money am I going to get? Like all these things I didn't know. So I didn't even know what financially things were going to look like. But my husband, now husband, kept telling me everything would be okay. Even though he was telling me that, I could not feel comfortable believing that because I just know how hard he works. And in my mind, I just kept thinking of, I want to contribute. I feel like he's going to have so much pressure on him to like provide for the both of us now. And we weren't even married yet. But shout out to him. Him come true. And it's like that was like a little mini test what we get for sure, that we could get through hard times, and how he would really hold me down, because he really did. He really did. And he's been taking care of me ever since. We take care of each other. But yeah, guys, that was what it was like. And initially I wanted to just get online, look for jobs, but mentally I just couldn't. I couldn't process, cuz in my mind I felt like I wasn't being told what was the real reason for me getting laid off. Over time I got to learn that yes, it was due to structural changes. A couple clients that they had expected to land, they didn't end up getting the client in the end. Some clients pulled out, all kind of stuff. And then there was even like a whole department that I found out got laid off as well or whatever. So that made me feel a little bit better to know it wasn't just me who was affected, but it just hurt. It hurt, man. So looking back, what are some of the things that I did that I wish I didn't do? Firstly, I wish that I didn't try to just quickly jump into Supergirl mode. I got this. I'ma show them type of mode. Like that didn't allow me to be thinking clearly. I just went right into, I'm just gonna look for another job. I'm gonna show them how irreplaceable I am. Like it was just all about proving this company that did me dirty in my eyes. That was like what I was really focused on. And it wasn't productive. I wasn't being intentional with job searches. I don't even think I felt as confident. I started questioning myself, like, can I even do the job that I'm applying for? Like, what the heck? Those were things that I would say. I started to kind of isolate myself. So I would tell friends I'm okay, but then I felt like I was pulling away from friends. I could really feel it. And even with my now husband, there were situations where I kind of shut down. So he was worried about me. My mom was worried about me. She would have to check in with him to see how I'm doing. And he would assure her that he's doing his best to make sure I'm okay. And that would give her some comfort. And I would just do my best to like basically lie and act like I'm okay because I didn't want to worry my parents, you know? But I did go into like a very dark place mentally of questioning my self-worth. I started tying my value to this job that I literally only had for not even a month. And that's when it allowed me to, after a couple months, I would say maybe 6 months later, like I'm really taking a step back, looking at my situation and trying to see the positives. Like, okay, what can I actually do here, Maggie? What can you do? Like, what now, Maggie? Right? Because I was getting EI for a couple of months, at least there was some money coming in. So I was telling myself, okay, I'm going to use this opportunity to do things I probably wouldn't have been able to do while I was working a 9 to 5. This involved going to conferences. I found the ways to get media tickets so I could go for free since I had limited income now. I would go to events that are free, that are creator related or entrepreneurship related, also career related, just basically trying to assess my options. So this is now going to like the things that I eventually did to help myself that maybe you guys can learn from. Really, definitely take a step back to assess your situation, try and see the positive in it if you can, and make a game plan for how you're going to utilize this time. So for me, I knew that my EI benefits was only up until a certain amount of time. So eventually this money I was getting would no longer be there. So there was also a mix of doing these things in the meantime while I can, because I have the freedom and time to do it now, versus, but I also need to get a job quickly because very soon this money is not going to be available anymore and we're going to be down to the one paycheck. The third thing I did, which was kind of related to the first thing of like trying to really get back out there, is I tried to heal too quickly because I felt like I had to bounce back quickly. And this has to do with like also validation from people, which can be very damaging for you when you're trying to prove to other people as well that you're an overcomer. You can go through tough things and overcome it. Like that for me, like I wanted to quickly, like, because I saw stories from other people who got laid off and how they were able, like 2 weeks later, a month later, they're already getting another job and it's even better than the first one that they got laid off from. I felt that pressure to like, yeah, I need to quickly heal. So I didn't really take time to stew in my feelings of processing it properly of like what actually happened. So instead of asking, what can I do next and make a strategy plan for that, I was focused so much on how can I prove my that I'm still valuable, you know, going into that whole proving them wrong type of thing. And that mindset took some time to kind of undo because it took me months to really have a plan and start rolling with that plan. So in me eventually having a plan and doing these strategic things that can help me with the different pockets of where I am in life, which was career wise, content creator wise, and like if I wanted to explore entrepreneurship again, like what that would look like. I was able to have little wins along the way that allowed me to build up my self confidence. So, some of those wins included while I was laid off, there was an opportunity for a food tour guide training program, and I was one of 10 people out of the however many applications that got accepted to that program. And it really helped me with my creativity as a creator. I was doing something and like exploring more around the lens of food and just really tapping into my creativity. And I felt like that really kept me busy and got me excited about something again. So I loved that. For me, that was a good win. And then out of that experience, the following year, I was able to, or later that month, I should say, there was a program where I could fast track getting approved or being eligible to apply for a government funding that would help me develop a series. And so I got through to that program. Another one that they were taking limited people, I think 10 people max was what they were taking. And I was one of those people accepted. And it included workshops. We did a practice pitch. Then I had to actually apply for the grant. And the following year, I got that grant in the full amount that I asked for, which was the full $20,000. And so that year I spent doing production work with doing a trailer, a pilot episode. We went on to go into film festivals. I went to LA and won Best Pilot is one of the awards that we won. And we won other ones for other film festivals that I entered us in. And those little things, they weren't overnight, but they were like little things along the way that I was doing to help give myself back that confidence that I felt like I lost. And that was when I started really getting that push to put myself back out there. And so later that year, this was 2024 or 2023 actually, 2023, later that year in the fall exactly, I remember I got a message on LinkedIn, and it was from someone at the current company I work at right now, inviting me to a mixer. That's it. Just invited me to a mixer. They want us to, meet other marketing people like ourselves, mingle, whatever. Again, I wasn't working at the time, so it's like, what do I have to lose? I forgot to mention too that in between this, I had applied for financial aid through Coursera because Coursera had a course on what was it? Digital marketing and e-commerce. And because at the time when I was applying for jobs, I realized how a lot of the social media related jobs were just not it. I said, okay, I think I need to get a different type of skill that I can add to my digital marketing experience that would help me attract other opportunities out there. And that's where this company that this person reached out to me from comes into play. So by that time, I had this certification and I had it that I put on my LinkedIn, all of that stuff. So that would help with like my search when people look for certain jobs and things like that. From that event, just going, being myself. At this point, I am now healed from the trauma that I went through. I am interacting, I'm just being myself. And at the end of the event, they said, we're actually hiring. If anyone would be interested, here is a paper with the information. Send us a message if you're interested, and we would love to set up an interview with you and take it from there. So this was given to everyone who attended the event. I literally was about to send the email the following day. And a couple hours before I was about to send that email, I got an email with them telling me they are interested in interviewing me. And I'm like, me? And now the rest is history. I'm working now at this company for 2 years. It has had its ups and downs, just like every company. But as I mentioned in my previous video where I was talking about 9 to 5, it gave me the flexibilities that I was looking for at the time, which is remote work, an opportunity to be in an environment where I can learn, be challenged, but at the same time still feel valuable. And even though what I started out with in terms of like the money isn't what I like saw for myself, because of everything I've gone through, and this was me tapping into a completely different role that I've never done before, I said, you know what? In talking to my husband to advise me, he said, think of it as like your starting point. It doesn't have to be your finishing line. So we'll go ahead, you take it, you will work your way through negotiating every year while you're there, finding different ways to, increase your salary, learn skills that you need to as well, and just see where it goes from there. And that's exactly what I did. I've learned a lot while working in different digital marketing agencies regarding tools that are out there. Just from an operation standpoint, I feel like in helping agency owners with their SOPs and setting up their systems to onboard clients and keeping clients happy and all of that, that has helped me with brand deals that I've been able to do. I've been able to work with DoorDash, Western Union, Meta. There are other smaller brands that I've been able to work with and businesses. I have a side business where I do social media consultation, and all of the things that I've been able to learn through my 9 to 5, I would say has helped me to adapt that when needed and when necessary into my own business. So I don't know what the future holds for Maggie in entrepreneurship like full time, but I am definitely setting up my foundations. And I just wanted to share this with you guys that your story is going to evolve. There are different journeys that you're going to have, different chapters, and it doesn't mean that that is where you're going to be for your entire life. Sometimes it's just a season, it will be challenging, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. So, what was a season that seemed like it was meant to break me was actually one that allowed me to slow down and properly rebuild my confidence, my mindset, um, just like so many things from that experience happened that allowed me to be the person who I am today. And I don't think I would change anything about it. Of course, at the time, it was traumatic. Manangala, it was a traumatic experience. But getting out at the next side of things, I'm like, okay, cool. Like that helped to build some kind of character in me, some resilience. There was some lesson in it along the way for sure that I took from it. So if you're someone who's currently going through something like this with a layoff, I just wanted to remind you that you're not broken. This does not define your value. And it's simply sometimes an opportunity to help you rebuild or even pivot you, redirect you to a better opportunity. There's a saying that sometimes it's God's redirection for us for better opportunities, and I truly believe that that is what it was for me, looking at this situation now. Thanks for hanging out with me for another video, y'all. I hope that you enjoyed it. Check out this one. I think you will like this one, and I will see you in another video. Bye.